5 years at home. I go by the name of Luyanda, and today I'll be your street journalist. As a student myself, I encounter challenges on a daily basis. Yes, the feeling is unbearable, but suicide is never the option, which is why today I'm on the streets to ask students about their opinions and their thoughts about suicide. This person is having suicidal thoughts.
Well, obviously you can't see thoughts, but like the signs would be a person who isolates themselves, a person who's always talking down on themselves, low self-esteem.
They're not thinking as positively as they usually do. They don't speak positively anymore. You know, that's where the first kind of signs lie.
You'd see they're sad, but like they'll try to act happy, you know. But you can always tell. I don't know, like I can tell. Because social media is popular, they might like post something sad, and like maybe take away their DP, you know.
Like we live for people's expectations, our parents' expectations. They want us to be doctors where we want to be rappers. They want us to be extraordinary when we are unique.
So the pressure of being something and not doing well, you have to explain why you're failing. It's a lot.
I feel like if you can just assess your situation and find out what's making you depressed, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, and then think of your own solution out, even if it means like defying your parents' wishes or your friends' expectations. Like, just go through that and like do what you feels right for you.
I don't think there are enough psychologists here in South Africa, actually, because if we had psychologists at schools, at universities, at colleges, we'd be like, there wouldn't be a lot of kids who are committing suicide, who have depression and stuff.
Try to talk to someone. Try to run. Try to let off steam in a way that is positive, obviously.
Keep yourself at a level where you're not thinking about it. You have to stay out of the hole. You know?
If you get a chance to open up or get help, please utilize it. Suicide is not worth it.
As Expressions, we want to say that suicide is definitely not the answer. And on that note, we want to say, hello, Dumelang Sanbonani, South Africa. Welcome to Expressions, your #1 current affairs show. This is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala.
I'm your host, Umqolisi Masango Sizagine from our studios in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. Now, this evening, we are talking about the disturbing phenomenon of suicide. Now, as South Africa observes Mental Health Awareness Month in October, we spotlight the issue of mental health. Our poll question today, we ask, is enough assistance available to prevent young people from committing suicide?
Well, that is a burning issue, especially because many young people are suffering from mental illness such as depression and anxiety. 9.5% of all deaths among teenagers are due to suicide in South Africa. This is according to a recent study conducted by the South African Anxiety and Depression Group. The research further shows that suicide is more rife during exam season.
Kusenjalo Expressions, we visited the family of the late Xolani Khosi, who is a 21-year-old who took his own life 2 months ago. Now, the former university student did not have the courage to tell abazali bakhe that he had failed and would not be graduating. He committed suicide instead. Age Muntomusha, we know that this is a very stressful time for Nina Baning and Balama exams right now. So right now we catch up with a parent of a young man who took his life due to some pressures that might be associated with exam stress. Mama Uzoliswa Kosi catches up with us and she tells us the story of her young boy Xolani Khosi who took his life. Join me. Ma, I guess khulume ngoXolani. Usitshele kahle ukuthi uXolani beumntwana njani?
uXolani bekuwumntana bekethulile from ekhuleni kwakhe. Ene bekuwumntana bekemamela. Bekungasi ngumuntu othethayo futhi. Ngumuntu bekehlale ngumuntu quiet. Akusumntana mhlawumbe okhwandiphana engxaki ekhuleni kwakhe mangena ku stage sokukhula.
Njengomzali mhlawumbe ukuthi into le yenza ukuthi uXolani mhlawumbe athathe impilo yakhe yini kahle kahle.
Ebenephupha lokuthi ufuna ukugqiba isikolo. Mayigqiba isikolo akwazi ukunginceda financial because ngimkhulise ngi1. Nemali ngimkhulise ndi1 so uyayibona yonke into. esijongene nazo, ama-challenges empilo esijongana nawo. So yena umbono wakhe bekukuthi makagqibe isikolo athole umsebenzi asebenze. Ngoba nokufumana kwakhe ilento i-entrance kwi-university ukuthola kwakhe ibhazari 2016 wayevuye ngale ndlela ukuthi ndandimbo umntanami ukuthi uhappy, uyabona ukuthi iphupha lakhe lizofezeka, azokwazi ukuthi ariche ezi goals afuna ukuzireach. And so ngoba kwaba khona leya 2016 Face Must Fall and waye-activist, kwafumaniseka ukuthi lento akahambanga kakuhle kuma-result. And then ngoJune 2017 kwafumaniseka ukuthi yadirejistwa, of which mina mama kaXola ndandingayazi, ndizoyazi ngoku sekeswelekile. Xa ndivuka kukhala i-alarm ndizibuza ukuthi kwenzakalani singenelwe apha endlini. Xa ndisithi ndakwi-alarm ndiva like isound nyana nje fani, ingathi ngumntu lo ukhinywayo, yabo. Xa ndithi nangu like dizzy and uphefumula kakhona ukuphefumula, athi mama fonele i-ambulance, mama fonele i-ambulance. Ndithathe ngibese ngigijima ndithathe ifowuni yami fonele i-ambulance, shuthi uxakanisekile ke ngoku. Lapha lo sisi athi hayi man, kunomfana okhe wafona kulo plot leyo othi ungixolani, uthi uphuze ipoison, bese khopha amagwebu vele mayeza kum. Ndizama ukumsula amagwebu abe engasakwazi umeso ngewardrobe, abe engasakwazi ukuma straight, bese ngizama ukumsa phansi ukuthi alale phansi, ngibize lo mncane ukuthi aze nomqamelo, ngimfaka umqamelo. Manje ngifaka umqamelo ngathi aphuma kakhulu ke manje lamagwebu. Ngiyababona babengena nebag but still kum akakabikho lanto ukuthi uxolana akekho. Ndibalandele mabe erumini, amaphoyisa behleli lapha ecani koxolana. Manje ngifika lapha ngibona umntanami bemlayishe ebhekini, ngibona khona ukuthi umntanami akasekho nje, akasekho emhlabeni Xolani. Ingeniswa kwi-body bag beyivala izipho bemlayishe.
A truly heartbreaking story. A young person cut in his prime. But to help me unpack this issue and just to get to the heart of this really topical discussion that we're having tonight, I'm joined by Dr. Thuresha Moodley, who is a clinical psychologist at the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. Really heart-wrenching stuff, but let me welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you so much for being here. And of course, I never do this by myself. My co-host, Mqolusi, is going to be manning our social media corner, bringing some of your perspective of this also important discussion that we're having in studio. It's almost difficult to pull yourself from just that moment that we've just had there. But I think it's important for us to use this platform to educate young people around suicide. Help us to understand what are the causes of suicide?
Yes, I think definitely suicide is quite pervasive in South Africa. I can't necessarily say only youth, but definitely it has crept in there. And in the last few years at least, it's become one of the leading causes of death among young people. From my experience in practice, I found in my clientele that, when people come to me, they have underlying issues, whether it's familial issues, familial conflict, anxiety, depression based on that or from that, or even traumas that they've been through. And they carry this with them. They go through their schooling, they go through, even to tertiary. And as the stress mounts, especially with academic stress, it adds on and compounds. And that's where we find that they start cracking. And obviously, with the lack of support or lack of knowing where to go or what to do about it, people don't reach out or don't know where to reach out, and it leads to this.
And I guess this now has to come back into our social spaces, our homes, our schools. As a country, as a society, do we have a culture of openly discussing issues around mental health issues and issues such as depression and anxiety? Do we even talk about those things?
I think that there is still a very big stigma around it. And, even for people to come to see me, I have to obviously, build the rapport and the trust with them and, and get them committed to the therapeutic process. But I'm glad, obviously, that they come through to me. And a lot of people do not seek help, psychological help, to be able to have support and understanding of what they can actually do, how they can resolve their issues. So definitely, I think it's looked down upon, it's frowned upon, there must be something really wrong with you, or I think crazy is the word that people generally use. So, when they see a clinical psychologist or mental health professional. But I think it's important to understand that all of us have issues. All of us have struggles. And we don't necessarily, from a younger age, develop the right coping mechanisms to be able to deal with it and take those coping mechanisms forward. So when we have short-term coping mechanisms, we tend to crash. It tends to not support us when we get the added stresses. And that's where the bigger issues come in. Yeah.
And I read something quite alarming that even though university students, and it was study looking at university students, even though university students are reporting mental health issues before they commit suicide, it's very difficult for health professionals to pick it up. So let's talk about the warning signs. How do we pick up, if these are our friends, these are our peers, these are people we go to school with, how do we pick up the warning signs that something is going on?
Well, definitely, depression, anxiety are quite interlinked and related because a lot of the symptoms overlap. So symptoms of depression, withdrawal, not engaging in activities that a person is normally used to engaging in, whether it's sporting activities, whether it is drama or whatever that they do in school, even just, sitting kind of by themselves during class or during break time, staying in their rooms. Also, some of the warning signs now that social media is quite active and people are on social media, young people especially, posting certain sayings and just how they're feeling, and very dark and very hopeless, helpless kind of phrases. Those are definitely warning signs. I would say, other symptoms, loss in appetite, sleeping too much, sleeping too little, that kind of thing. So depression, anxiety, definitely warning signs to that. And any changes in behavior. So even if a person becomes erratic, maybe temper outbursts, losing control to a degree, impulsive behavior, anything out of the norm for that person.
So anything that is different. And I think that the call to action that we're saying to young people, please take it seriously. If somebody says to you, I feel like killing myself, please take them seriously. You're watching Expressions. We'll be back right after this.
I guess Pinde Sinbingilel Sinamgelo, you're still watching Expressions, your #1 youth current affairs show right here on SABC 1. Now, is enough assistance available to prevent young people from committing suicide? Now I'm now joined by Enoch Dibane as well as Cindy Swakalipe, all our students from UJ. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening and thank you for having us. Thank you.
Cindy Swangzoqala, as you might have seen, that young person was, a student, full of life. His life was ahead of him. He committed suicide because of some of the pressures at university. Tell me, are you guys, as student representative bodies, doing enough to ensure that support is being given to these young people before we look at the institutions?
Well, firstly, I'd like to say Gutukolan is someone that we all knew and our very own student of Soweto campus. But with your question, as student bodies, I think, for starters, the institution has structures like PsychEd where they provide psychological help.
But is that enough?
Unfortunately, it's not enough because I feel like there's not enough being done to create awareness and to make sure that students are there and they go to PsychEd. And besides, the stigma that comes with going to a psychological clinic at a certain point, and because we come from Black communities where what is psychology to Black communities, you see? It's something that's not out there and it's as if Black people just don't believe in it. So it becomes a problem when you tell a Black young student to say, listen, go and see a psychologist because there's just a stigma around it to say, if you're going to a psychologist, there must be something wrong with you. Are you crazy? And those are the issues that students battle with. Basically.
Okay, I think that is something that I also saw on our social media platform. Perhaps, Doctor, I need to know, what are the trends? How far are we from demystifying suicide in our Black communities? Because, as you might have heard Cindy coming out to say, some parents actually come out to say, this child has been bewitched. There's no such thing as depression. How far are we in terms of demystifying depression?
I think we are a long way from where we were a few years ago. I have a lot of parents coming to me, bringing their children to me, just with, worry, of changes in behavior. So I'm glad for that because, they kind of, in a way, relinquishing control to me to say, please help my child. So I think that, yes, there is that perception that, there might be something else going on with the child, but they definitely do seek help from GPs who then generally refer to us as psychologists. So yeah, definitely I think
Enoch,
it's a
I
lot
need
better.
to bring you in on this as well. About 9.5% deaths in young people are attributed to suicide. This is a very, tumultuous time for abantu abasha facing ingcindezi, isikhathi exam, kubhizi baba. What do you think really needs to be done to ensure ukuthi le ngane get the support that they need?
Okay, I remain as Enoch Debane, SRC-led as a chairperson at Soweto campus. In this regards, I'm going to start by saying, first point is that we have sufficient support from higher learning institutions. For example, we have psych-ed that is there on campus, but it's not notifying students or assisting them with anything. Because in this regard, if a student is registered to an institution, it's their responsibility to make sure that the student perform. For example, if it happens that you have registered first year, second year you are not performing while first year you're performing. Therefore, it's their responsibility to make it a point that they refer the student to psych-ed before the student is academically excluded. That is the first point. Second to that, we have other issues such as a financial constraint that lead to depression, indebted students also, and other actually external issues such as parents not affording to take students to higher learning institution. Because for instance, there are a lot of issues pertaining Uxolani Khosi, that was an activist on campus that advocated for free education.
Yes, exactly. This is a person who was fighting Yamantabasha, the students' cause, but it seems like nobody really cared.
Indeed, it's quite saddening and it's a misery because the student was academically excluded, and as friends and representatives were not aware of this. We were aware by the day when the mother came to office to report that Uxolani Khosi is no more. So in that regards, we were all shocked that Uxolani was no longer a student at University of Johannesburg, and UJ at large didn't assist with anything in terms of financial, in terms of assisting with the burial of the cadre. So as students, we tried our level best to contact the parents and also assist where we can. She can also confirm with that. And it's, that's why when you read what you call the booklet or any web page.
Clearly, there's so much that needs to be done by these institutions to ensure Tabantabasha get the support they need. Guys, let's just quickly check in with our Facebook for now. Archie says no, because we get more of them, and it's not only the youth, but also the old age people. They also do, and that I think that the government needs to create more awareness. Sweet and short duty, not yet young people must learn to talk openly with someone, either a friend or family. Remember, Bugela Pekaya, to keep your comments sweet and short. We are on Facebook as well as on Twitter. Now, this all-important conversation continues after this. Now, this is Expressions.
Welcome back. You're watching Expressions, your #1 current affairs show here on SABC. Today we are discussing a very disturbing phenomena of suicide. And the poll question that we're asking you this evening is, enough being done to assist young people and to help them, to prevent them from committing suicide? And I'm still with Dr. Mudli, and we have to wrap it up. And I think a lot has been shed tonight, but we want to find out, give us techniques. We know that this is exam season, and we'll be speaking about it earlier on. Give us techniques.
Yeah.
What can young people do just to make sure that they pull themselves from the abyss?
Yes, I think definitely, first visit your family doctor, because when we talked about depression, anxiety, definitely in terms of, obviously the doctor would assess medical treatment, and in terms of, what could assist them in that time, just to help with the anxiety or even depressive symptoms. And also he or she would be able to provide support in terms of, a psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever the client might need. Google is a great thing. Yeah. So you can Google exercises on mindfulness. You can Google exercises on just breathing, deep breathing and release. Yeah. And I think the most important thing is for people to acknowledge, young people to acknowledge that, however they feel, it's adequate, it's important. It should be acknowledged. They should own it. There's nothing wrong with it. They shouldn't push it down. Allow it to come up, give it attention, and then be able to release it, do something about it.
So there's definitely no shame in speaking up.
Definitely
and make sure you ask for help. Dr. Mudli, thank you so very much. And
wow, thank you so much, Doctor. And perhaps another thing we shouldn't ignore, such posts, when someone says, how do I stop him from hurting himself? I tried talking to him, but it's getting worse every day, and they post pictures. Those are some things that we should never ignore as well. Now, poll results, about 30% of y'all said yes, there is enough help, and about 70% said no. Well, at the back of that, we'd also like to know ukuthi wena lapha ekhaya ufuna sikhulume ngani ngesonto elizayo. That's why we check in with your video diary.
Hi Expressions, my name is Tozani Ndaba. I would like you guys to speak about colored communities because I feel that colored communities are marginalized and they hold the highest unemployment rate, which leads to gangsterism. So please, let's talk about that. Thank you.
It's going to be a great one. Sibonge lapho Mbukele Khaya for joining us this evening. From all of us here at Expressions, we wish you a spectacular evening going forward. Fiesta Black plays us out. Nsale kahle.
Thank you for watching. Bye.
'Cause everything around me is so loud. Pray to God for a little bit of darkness. Jah, please tell the sun to go down. But please